Hey y'all, happy Thursday. So today I want to talk about negative feedback. I recently got 2 negative feedbacks after all the ones from times past had fallen off my account. And my instinct was to get really angry at first. Frustrated because the 2 buyers never reached out to me to tell me what their issues were. They received the item and then left the bad feedback. But I want to tell you guys, when you're shipping hundreds of items a week, 2 negative feedbacks over the course of 3 months really isn't that bad. Let's start looking at today's sales. This first item is a vintage witch sewing needle threader. In the original box, which has seen better days, very delicate. I paid $0.25 at an estate sale. It sold for $6.97. So I remember when I started my eBay store, I felt like negative feedback was the absolute end of the world. And it's still frustrating, but you can't make everybody happy. We sold this 1995 Kenner C3PO figure that we got at the thrift store for $0.10, and he sold for $11.95. So when you get negative feedback, you really just need to ask yourself, did I really make a mistake? Did I do everything I could to optimize this listing where there wouldn't be an issue? And if the answer is yes to yes, you made a mistake, or no, I didn't do everything I possibly could, the biggest thing is you can try to make it right with the customer, and then you learn from it going forward. We sold this bulk costume jewelry lot, just over 2 pounds. And this is just a mix of stuff we picked up when we were trying to get specific things out of lots, and it was just a better deal to get in bulk, and stuff I don't want to list individually. So I have maybe $3 into all of it. It sold for $17.46. So the 2 bad feedbacks I got were some Tervis lids that they said one of the lids doesn't fit the cup properly, which I will be honest, I did not test them on an actual cup, and so I could have made that right by refunding it or having them return it, but they just left negative feedback, so no opportunity really there to make it right. These are so cute. We sold these Christmas diorama like replacement parts. I think they would go on ornaments, little figures. Paid $0.25, they sold for $8.89 and came from an estate sale. The other negative comment that I got was that I sold a set of Vera Newman napkins and I didn't disclose the damage in the picture. We sold this Starbucks mini coffee mug from Virginia, paid $1 at a yard sale recently, it sold for $13.45. So in the case of the napkins, it was my mistake. My pictures weren't clear enough. But again, they never reached out to me with the issue. They just left the negative feedback. So I'm going to keep the money from the sale. I'm not going to try to convince them to revise their feedback. They could have reached out and we could have made it right. Now this item here, I found at the bins. It's a Parker pointer. So like a telescoping kind of wand here. Really cool piece. Only cost me about 10 cents by weight. And it sold for $14.95, and it's going to Bosnia, which is interesting. Next up, we have another international sale going out. And this is a pack of vintage Bic pens. And the cool thing about them is, and the reason I picked them up, they say 24 karat gold on them, which is just a little clip that like would hook onto a shirt or, a piece of paper. It's not a full box. There's only 7 or 8 of them in there, but I only paid $0.25 for them and they sold for $8.95 and they're going to Canada. Our next item going out is going to be a coloring book, and the same weekend that I found that Starbucks mug, it was such a great weekend of sourcing at yard sales. It rejuvenated my love for yard sales. One yard sale had a bunch of these vintage coloring books, and this gingham one is the first one that sold. It is partially used. There's 3 or 4 pages in here that have been colored on, and they did a pretty good job, but these are from 1977. A cool find. I only paid $0.25 for it, and it sold for $5.95. And one of the buyers that left me negative feedback wrote in their feedback, "Buyer beware," which I actually had a little bit of a chuckle at because I have thousands of positive feedbacks from good transactions. It's more like seller beware. This person's not going to give you an opportunity to make it right. We sold this little mini dish, kind of MCM style, paid $1 for it. It finally sold for $5. Somebody sent me an offer and I accepted. It's been hanging around forever, but it's still a really cool item. And I'm kind of disappointed it didn't get more money, but also happy to see it move on. Now we have some ornaments going out. These are vintage 1977 Merrimack cardstock and paper die cut ornaments. Paid 50 cents at an estate sale. They sold for $11.87. I think the thing about the negative feedback that has changed for me over the last year is you can't please everybody. There's always going to be disgruntled customers who just want to be angry at things. And if you let that filter to you and ruin your day, then they win. I'm not letting them win. This yellow M&M tin I found at the bins, paid about $0.25. It sold for $10.95. And if it looked familiar, it's because we have sold that before. It actually got shipped out and then returned to my P.O. box. Never heard anything from the customer, so I refunded their purchase price for the tin, and then I relisted it. I did not refund their shipping because I'm not paying shipping for an item that couldn't be delivered. But I did message them letting them know I had refunded their purchase price. Now we have a set of 10 little cocktail utensils, 5 forks and 5 spoons, paid 19 cents a piece at the thrift store. They sold for $16.96. And here's another cool item from 2 weeks ago when we did some amazing yard selling. This is a vintage Presto kitchen timer, and it works from the 50s, paid $1, it sold for $19.95. That's the second one of those I sold. They're actually a pretty hot item. They have a great sell-through rate. And we sold another lot of trinkets. This one actually went pretty quick, in only a few days, so it's time for us to make another one. I figure I have about $3 into this stuff with the mix of items, and they sold for $34.95. So what do you do about negative feedback? Do you reach out to the buyer to try to get them to revise it, to make the situation right, or do you just let it live there because they strike you as the type of customer you're not going to be able to change their opinion either way? Let me know in the comments. This is some vintage candle stickum that we picked up at an estate sale for 25 cents, and it sold for $5. This was a recent bins find, and I have to say I am guilty. I weighed it with the housewares instead of paying the bag price, which I think is $3.49 or something like that at my bins. In my defense, it was in the housewares bin, not the bag bin. This is a vintage leather Abercrombie & Fitch, made in England, travel shoe storage bag, and I paid about 50 cents by weight. It sold for $29.95, pretty quick. Now we're heading over to our ephemera box, and we sold yet another vintage manual. A couple weeks ago we sold that Hoover vacuum one, and now we are looking for a Zenith transistor radio manual. I actually picked this up at the same estate sale that I got that Hoover vacuum manual at. So I paid about 10 cents for this little manual, just a piece of paper. I actually got a bunch of ephemera there, and I really wish they'd still had the radio, but I didn't see it anywhere. But I'm guessing that people use these if they have the electronics still, or maybe they just like it and it's a collectible. Either way, I paid 10 cents and somebody sent me an offer for $10 and I accepted. And our last item going out today, we are looking for a little kitchen scoop. Although I don't think I would have put it in my Tupperware bin because it's not actually Tupperware. Let's check down here, and there it is in our other kitchen item stuff. This is just a little mini scoop you would use in a canister. These scoops that are shaped like this always make me think of going to the candy store and the bulk candy. This one's really cool. It's in an avocado green and it's got this little floral handle on it. I paid $0.25 at an estate sale. It sold for $6.95. So in total, we have $13.95 into all these items, and they sold for $240.08, which is 17 times our money, and not bad for weekday. Got it all packed up. It's heading to the post office. You guys let me know, what do you do about negative feedback? And we'll see you soon with another video of what's sold.